Look at that. I got an ascot. Like Freddie Herman Jones from Scooby-Doo. Gotta watch out. I should be wearing safety glasses. Yeah. And I think I wear it better than he did. You know, back in 1969 when he was born as an adult animated figure, I was being born as a baby. He walked around with that barrel chest, and he was just dumb. Where's he from? So, yeah. From what I see, he came into existence in 1969. We were born the same year. And I think I'm wearing it better. Poor Velma. I just saw the video of mine. You gotta know I watch these things. I mean, there's the truth, you know. Yeah, I can sit and look at this and go, ha 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 ha, all day long. And I stop and I go, is this conceit? Is this arrogance? And it's no. It's like when I would be sitting at the stoplight in San Jose and I had either Conan the Barbarian soundtrack going or just this deep heavy metal Emperor Bathory, just fucking Venom, Spin Cobra, all these people, Cradle of Filth, all this stuff, and it'd be just pounding out my windows, I suppose, out the sunroof, and I'd be sitting there waiting for a light. And the one day I realized I'm just sitting there and it's going, it sounds like noise. But I'm just sitting there, and I was like, sitting at the light, and I was just totally calm, and I kind of glanced over, and I saw somebody looking at me, and I realized this music's blaring out of my car, and I look so peaceful. I said, what is that? And I can take a lot of music, but it wasn't until I really started getting introduced to heavier music that I was like, first album was Danzig, 1987. Vyzenko handed it to me. He'd been handing me other stuff, even Metallica, which I like. He was handing me other stuff, saying, listen to this, listen to this, listen to this. You know, this is a little army kid. It wasn't forget it. But he handed me Danzig's debut album, The Band, and I put it in, and I was like, immediately, as soon as it started, I just felt chills roll through me. I'd been dealing with Bon Jovi and Madonna and shit like this my whole life. And I never felt a thing. I knew the words, you had to, because they're fucking playing it. I never felt a thing from that music, but when that Danzig came on, it just went, cool. And I felt chills, and I was like, and I felt something, you know, deeper inside. I felt a connection. It was like a nexus. It was an energetic nexus for the way I feel and the way they act. It came together, you know, somewhere, and I realized, and this is the thought went through my head, the feeling, I said, they do make music for me. It was like, it's like a priest having an orgasm. I don't know. God loves me too. God. That would have been 88, 89 when I got introduced to that 88. So, it took me a good long while to find music that I liked. So what I'm describing to you is the idea that in the Bugs Bunny cartoon where he calms the Tasmanian devil with music, and he says music soothes even the savage beast. But what you got to do is find the music that that beast can relate to. And so we have some sort of connection to a certain energy that's coming, and we are very welcoming to it.
Bye, Dad, sir.
All right.
Bye.
See you later. There's the step, Danny. And it's the same with me watching these shows. I realize, is it conceit, is it arrogance? And you gotta know it's not. What do I have to be proud of? You know, I can be excited about a lot, but I don't walk that way. What I realized is being able to watch myself the same way. If you do anything and tape yourself and watch it, maybe at first you won't think much of it, but you'll find a way of making your fantasy of yourself your reality in the world. And what it is the things that I find funny, I'm not getting it too many other places. And so here I get to watch myself say things that I think are funny. And it's like hearing it out loud for the first time, and you go, there's a connection. I am the progenitor and I am the receiver. This is a weird little place. But as I'm watching, that's all to explain why I'm watching my show. I don't know why you don't. Something for everyone to hate. If I say something that you find hateful, you can be sure the next time around I'm going to say something hateful about someone else that you hate, and you go, I guess it's going to be okay. You know, it's only every 3 weeks you hear something about you that you hate. Sometimes they go more in a row because I just can't stop thinking about it. But I'm watching It's a Bad Idea to Go to Gaylord, and I realized that I rolled through it. You know, do I look like somebody with a plan? Do I look like the kind of guy with a plan? I'm just a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do if I caught one. And I realized that I had to make some additions and some corrections. I talked about Isidore's Secret in there, sure. I'm reading these books by Marty Link that Victoria got me for Christmas. And then there's the one, Wicked Takes the Witness Stand, which is also a Northern Michigan story. Isidore's Secret has a lot. It's got Dick Van Dyke, and it's got the Gaylord Diocese Archives 82 talking about it. But Wicked Takes the Witness Stand, that's when I was a high school senior when they killed Tobias. Heck, I don't know what happened. I haven't finished reading the book yet. But as I said, I didn't really pay much attention to it because it seems so normal to find a guy hanging out the back of his pickup truck behind the fire station for like 2 or 3 days when there have already been police there and stuff like that. And so I've already reached the point where it's Officer McCann. She was the one that pulled up on Friday night, early Saturday morning, somewhere, late Friday, and saw a vehicle, a truck sitting there, and she's like, and see, this is the type of stuff we hear about growing up, is like, the story is, that was around town, was she would go out on the streets to her time frame, her shift, after making bets in the that room where they talk about things that are going on, just like in that one old New York show where they'd say, "Be careful out there," at the end of it all. Well, she'd be there at the end of it, making bets with people that she could write more tickets than them that night. And Officer Smith was part of that. That's the one I hear she would make bets with. Hired, fired, rehired, and retired, all on the state's money. Officer Smith never got treated bad by him. That's the truth. But she is the one that saw the truck behind the fire station in the middle of the night and wrote down the license plate just to say, "This is on record." Like stopping somebody in the street and then taking all their information, and you go, "What, so somebody's going to get killed in here tonight? You're going to come looking for me?" I was just out running. But it all comes back around. She's doing that stuff, looking like she's doing her job. She was a hardcore Nazi cop in Gaylord at the time I was growing up. And I said she could have been pulling me over that night. I'm thinking maybe she did. I think it could have been that very night that I was at my cousin's house in town. And I had 2 beers, and as a 17-year-old, that's a fresh 17. I just turned 17 like 10 days earlier, and I was a high school senior, but had a couple beers, so it was like, and we went out and got in my truck. I don't remember where we were going, but we were coming out by the Kentucky Fried Chicken there on the corner with a bank on the other side, I think. I can't be sure. You'd have to give me a map of Gaylord now. Kentucky Fried Chicken's still there. We were coming up on that, and it was middle of December, beginning of December, first 8 days when all this happened with them, and it's about right. It was a Friday, and I came up in the snow all over and everything, and my truck started going woo, 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 as I was coming up to Main Street by the Kentucky Fried Chicken from a side street. And I just said, well, hell with it. If it's spin around, I did the opposite of what they say to do to keep going straight. I just turned the wheels with it and gunned it, and it just went, it spun right around backwards, and I landed right in the other lane at the stop sign intersection, and I just went driving back the other way, so we're going home. It was a very, very artistic maneuver. It was good skills. I didn't go sliding into the street while cars were going by. And then right away, as I'm driving away, woo! Karen McCann was there. She got out, she's saying, what did I say? I lost control of the vehicle there because it was glare ice, what we call black ice back home. That's what it was. And it caught me off guard. I couldn't see that the road was icy. It just looked like the road. And she's like, well, you got those big tires on there, and they should, but I'm like, they're 8-ply tires. They don't do so well in the snow. And I was 17. I couldn't afford good tires for a truck. And while everything seems to be going okay, my second brother, for some reason, is out on Main Street in the middle of the night, walking by Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he's coming, and he's just like, and I'm like, oh no. Kara McCann's gonna get to see me shoved into the truck and kicked around a little bit, and I know it can't be good for me at all anyway. He doesn't ever seem to be on my side too much. And he's coming, he's just charging like he is, that extra chromosome that lands you in prison, but he never went there. He's just smart and big. And he's coming up, and he's had run-ins. And, my second brother was very indignant toward the powers that be and the law and stuff like that. It was all about physical stuff. And the law was his, and he's coming. And I'm like, oh no. And he says, hey! And she's writing things. She wasn't even gonna give me a problem. And she turns and she says his name. And he says, what are you doing with my brother? As he's coming, like he's on my side. And I'm like, oh, this is not good. They know each other. And she stops and she looks at me and she says, is that your second brother? I didn't want to say his name. She said it. Is he your brother? And I said, yes, ma'am. And she says, get in the car. I'm going to blow you. And I was like, oh, I don't know what that means. It could either be good or bad, but I don't think I could ever walk away without owing the devil something. And so she put me in there, and I took a breathalyzer, and she said, okay, and she set me loose. But so that night that she took Jerry Tobias's, it had to have been the same night. So I was saying I could have been pulled over by her. Well, I really meant that. The chances are very good that the very night I was pulled over by her. And there's that. Something I need to clear up is the idea that I said the Zinky boy and man with a van. See, I'm talking about witness takes the wicked takes a witness stand, and then there's the man with a man episode 1, season 5, where the Zinky guy did the horn woman and left her in the woods somewhere. So I thought it was one of the Zinkies from the salvage yard. So I said from the salvage yard south of Gaylord. But as it turns out, I have someone that I know that is very well versed in the history of the town and every single person because of the contact that's been made. And he corrected me and said, I haven't gotten that far in that's not the book. He corrected me after watching the episode, which I suggested to him, and said that it was not the Zinkies with salvage yard, but the Zinkies had Gaylord glass down there south of Gaylord. It must have been some sort of connection because that's an unusual name. He also said something they didn't say in that episode, A Man with a Van, episode 5, season 1, was that the guy David Zinke that did it, allegedly, I'd say evidently because he's in jail or was, he was adopted. He said he was always a problem kid, that other kids would just go ooh around him. He was adopted. He was a freak. He wasn't of the Zinky blood. So I guess he was like that from the start. He was adopted at an older age. And right from the start, he was weird. So, I accidentally said the people with salvage yard, and I don't want to hold them responsible for raising a kid, and I don't want the people with the Gaylord glass, the old business, to be held responsible for making that kid. He was born of the devil or something, yeah, never knew my mother, never knew my father. Don't even know what I came from, type of thing, you know. But even though I said the salvage yard, it's an interesting thing was that in that episode, they showed the Lowshaw kid from Vanderbilt. He drove by with his girl in the afternoon or whenever it was and saw this girl laying in the back of the van. And the guy got interrupted in what he was doing. And he was like to the girl, what's going on there? I don't know. Probably just a kid, you know, at the time, so you don't know what the hell you're doing. And they kept going. But they own the salvage yard in Vanderbilt, so I was close. Not only was I close, but I would have taken his sister, being that he's the people that own the salvage yard, the kids and the family, took his sister to the Vanderbilt homecoming my senior year with Jeff Foreman and his date. He wanted me to go along, so his sister, this guy's sister that saw the thing and just kept going. I guess I was her date for the homecoming thing. Never saw her again. But so there are connections. I just screw things up. It just seems like there's something more I should be saying, but I don't know. It's a bad idea to go to Gaylord. I just needed to correct a few things, and that's it. Don't forget to get your Farmer's Almanac. They have them at Lowe's,